Thank you very much for doing this for us, Amanda. Welcome everyone to this evening's Community Liaison Committee meeting. So just a reminder, this committee was formed between St. Mary's Cement and the residents of the town of St. Mary's as a joint effort to share information regarding cement plant operations and any concerns brought forward from the community. So welcome everyone today. Our agenda is as follows. We'll start with some welcome and introductions. I am going to do another quick overview of our facility and what we do. And then I do have a video to share from the Cement Association of Canada. They filmed a video on site this summer about sustainability, so we'll be sharing that with everyone. I will go through some of the complaints that we received year to date. And then I will look at a more in-depth dive at the odor complaints received between 2017 and 2025. I will also look at the dust complaints we've received over the past few months, an update on our alternative low carbon fuels, followed by questions brought forward in advance, a round table and closing remarks. So welcome again to everyone. Thank you to the town of St. Mary's. They are always extremely accommodating with providing us this space to use and the YouTube channel for streaming to everyone watching that may be at home. Welcome back to everyone in the committee. And if it's all right, we will start with a roundtable introduction. So my name is Cara Pellicero. I'm the environmental manager at the St. Mary's Cement Plant.
I'm Glenn Plus. I'm the co-development manager with St. Mary's Cement. Fred Stone, community member.
Jim Craigmouth, councillor, town of St. Mary's.
Marty Lindsay, community member.
Jeff Knowles, environmental compliance officer with the administrative environment. Brian Hawley, community member.
Robin Needy, councillor for St. Town of St. Mary's.
Thank you, and welcome to Amanda as well, helping us with our IT today. So I did send out the meeting minutes from last month's meeting. Did anybody have any questions or concerns on that? Okay. And then format of today's meeting, just a reminder, we have our committee here at the table, and then if anybody wanted to ask questions in advance, they had the opportunity to do so via the information was posted in the newspaper. That's at the end. I did not receive any questions, but that's how today's meeting is scheduled. So St. Mary's Cement, for those just a refresher, so we were founded in 1912. We currently employ about 130 employees with a 24-hour operation. We are in the industrial process of cement manufacturing, which includes quarry operations, raw material preparation, kiln operations to create clinker using fuel of both petcoke and alternative low carbon fuels. We are clinker grinding to make cement and then shipments via trucking. So the first thing I wanted to share today is a video put together by the Cement Association of Canada. They were on site, like I mentioned earlier this summer, and they're doing a new series on cement sustainability, specifically in Canada. And they chose our facility to film one of them at. So it's our CEO, Jorge Wagner, who's been with us for about 1.5 years. He's just going to talk about our site and the company kind of as a whole. And I hope you find it interesting, and I am in it. So.
Concrete is a great product. It's the second most consumed product by humans and is the backbone of our society. At the same time, given climate change, we need to address the emissions. My name is Jorge Wagner. I'm currently the CEO of Votorantim Cimentos North America. I've been working for this company for 22 years. Sustainability is core to everything we do at Votorantim Cimentos. We have the target of being net zero by 2050, and also the target of having 475 kilos of emissions per ton of cement. Those are very ambitious targets that represent over 25% reduction from our baseline in 2018. We started this plant originally in 1912. Our cement division is called St. Mary's Cement because of the city of St. Mary's where this plant is located. We have 3 cement plants in Canada. Originally started here in St. Mary's Cement. We also have a big plant east of Toronto at Bowmanville. The latest acquisition of Votorantim Cimentos North America in Quebec is a McKinney's plant. We are a cement company or a building materials company, but really we're a company building that is built out of people. we're gonna be only as good as the people we have.
What I enjoy most about working here is the family feeling that comes with this job. The people that I work with are extremely important to me on a day-to-day basis. The people that are here every day work hard for the same goal. It is a group of people that support each other day in and day out, no matter what department they're part of in the organization. The people is what makes this business what it is today. I'm a fourth generation member of this facility. There's been a member of my family here since 1912 when it opened. I've been here 27 years working at that and learning myself and developing and growing. My co-workers are like family to me. We work each and every day together closely. I worry about their safety every day.
Safety at Votorantim Cimentos is not a priority, it's a value. And this is something very important because the priorities can change. Today is one thing, tomorrow another thing, but value is something that is part of what we are.
Safety is an important value to me because the condition that people come to work and leave work should be the same, if not better. The safety of each and every employee is important to ensuring that they're here, their families are growing, the community is growing, their impact is positive.
Community engagement is very important as well. We're only going to thrive if our communities thrive as well. So we support things like hospitals, youth centers, and different initiatives depending on the needs of the local communities around our plants. It's a natural extension of our culture, our busy way. Today, not only you need the licenses to operate, but you need the social license. The community you operate needs to feel that you create value for them.
St. Mary's is very active in the community. If you tell people you work for St. Mary's Cement, they're like, how did you get in there? Like, that's exciting. That's a great place to work. They've done so much for the town. It's like an honor to work at the plant, and everybody knows that that plant is part of this town. I'm responsible for ensuring that all the plants produce a quality product that is meeting the needs and expectations of our customers out in the field. When you're driving by with family and friends, I get to point out and say, we built that, like the CN Tower, the Gordie Howe Bridge. My family and friends are always amazed to see like how big it is and like how far away we're involved in projects. It's not just in St. Mary's.
So there are a number of different partnerships that we are developing in this relationship with our communities. For instance, we contributed also $250,000 Canadian to the Bowmanville Hospital, helping to ensure high quality care is accessible in the region where many of our employees live and work. All of these sponsorships are a lot more than just financial commitment. They represent our long-term dedication to strengthening the communities in which we operate, and that we try to create value beyond the company borders.
We're all more aware and conscious of our impacts that we have on everything that we do day to day. Doing what we do and expanding and changing how we make the product, how we develop the product to reduce our carbon footprint, to make a better product that is healthier produced, more environmentally friendly is important to everyone.
What sustainability means to me is protecting and preserving our ecosystem that we currently have so that we can provide a similar environment and ecosystem for generations to come.
What excites me the most about the future of the cement industry is the need of change. This industry has been evolving slowly for many, many decades, and now the need to adapt to the demands of the society with climate change and the availability of technology creates the opportunity to accelerate the pace of change dramatically. That excites me a lot because they create opportunity to improve the emissions of our product, to improve the performance of our product to our clients, and to create an opportunity to grow our employees as well, so we can together create a better company for our future.
Comments, questions about that? It's on their LinkedIn if you want to watch it again. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. Moving into the complaints, concerns we've received year to date. So our last meeting was in early September. So for the month of September, we did have 2 odor complaints. Neither of them mentioned health. We had 3 dust complaints and 2 of those did not come from our facility, but we'll get to those later in the presentation. No noise concerns. In October, we had 1 odor complaint, did not mention health. We had 1 dust, which ended up not coming from our facility, and then no noise. And then in November, we did not receive any concerns. Comments on these? So looking at the EnviroSuite results, so just a reminder, we use the software to look at our complaints that we receive, to track weather conditions, wind direction specifically to see if the odor concern could have originated from our facility. And based off the software, we use, categorize them into 4 different results. So if everything lines up, it likely originated from our facility. If there's some deviation, we assign it as a possibility that it originated. If there is quite a bit of deviation, it probably did not. And if there is a obvious did not originate from our facility, we note that as well. There's a 5th one of location not provided as well. So looking at the 3 we received since September. So the first one, we actually did have a likely did not originate from St. Mary's Cement. The second one likely originated from St. Mary's Cement, and then the 3rd one possibly. So looking at the year-to-date results, we just have a little screen, but we've got 12 likely originated, 2 possibly, 1 likely did not, and then 2 locations were not provided. And answer questions. All right, so then looking at EnviroSuite, I actually included all the information from when we started using the software about midsummer of 2021. So you will see that as time has gone on, we have gotten less concerns. 2024, 2025, I would say, is in line with 22 and 23. But for the most part, we are seeing trends where the odor likely did originate from the facility, but we do still see ones where people indicate odor that did not come from us. But it's interesting to see that that is still going on. Comments or questions? Okay. And then I did put together a lot more stats about our odor concerns. So just a reminder, so St. Mary's Cement did some testing back in 2018 to determine where our odor contributions were coming from. And we did look specifically at raw materials, including limestone, pet coke, which is our fuel, and the kiln feed. And we did find that our limestone consistently tested higher in odor than other samples. And analysis of the limestone showed that the odor was random at different depths in the quarry. So as limestone is 75 to 80% of our raw material, cannot be eliminated or substituted. So as a result of that St. Mary's Cement focused odor abatement efforts on improving dispersion, which is why we did the staff extension in May of 2020. So in the next slide, you'll see that we do have quite a decrease in odor complaints. So specifically starting in 2017, I chose 2017 by the way, because that's when I started. It seemed like a good year.
Yep.
But I started in 2017, 169 concerns that year. And year to date right now we're at 17. So the number has come down by about 90%, which is great. And just a reminder, odor is subjective. We've talked about that at this meeting before. It will vary between individuals. So for example, what Rob might smell, I might not. And what Rob finds offensive, I also may not. So we do have to report all odor complaints to the Ministry of Environment. And looking at the complaints, we do look at the date, time, wind direction, and the location of the concern.
Karen, is there an explanation on the anomaly of 2024? Like it takes this huge dive.
I don't know if I have one.
No.
I would say 25 though is in line with 22 and 23.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So looking at our concerns, I did start to put together some trends. So specifically, I was looking at the number of concerns we received per individual. And when you look at that number per individual, you do tend to note that some individuals have a lot more complaints filed than others. So specifically, 52% of our complaints came from individuals, 3 individuals, who have each complained more than 50 times. So between those three individuals, we received 52% of our odor complaints. So between, so that, yeah, 2017 to 25, we received 597 complaints, and 52% came from three people. Does that make sense how I phrased that? Yeah, okay. Then we have medium level, so this is people between 5 and 50. We had 16 residents in that chapter, 196 complaints, which was about 33%. Then we have the low between 1 and 5. We have single concerns, so only one concern received from that individual in that many years. And then we did receive 37 individual complaints where we were not able to determine who it came from. Anybody have a comment on that one?
So the staff was changed when, 2020?
2020,
You don't have anything from,
it's coming up.
okay.
Yeah. Pretty sure I left that slide in. Specifically looking at 2017 to 2025. Sorry, 2025. We are getting 3 residents are filing 82% of our complaints
That's a year to date,
year to date.
so I'm pretty high up there, aren't I?
3 individuals.
The problem just goes with, they're very sensitive.
Sensitive, yeah.
You know,
Sensitive.
I mean, typically when the Ministry of Environment, when they determine to any facility what is the odor threshold, the first thing you have to do is check the sensitivity of the individual. So, you know, we go through, we get 100 from the local community coming in being tested, and there'd be 6 or 7 that you just couldn't use because you couldn't dilute it enough that they wouldn't detect something. So, I mean, those 3% of the sensitivity, they're never used in any of the
And I think
data gathering.
there's 2 sides of what you're using for the word sensitivity. There's whether or not you're likely to notice it, right? So if you have a strong nose, you'll notice a weak odor. So that's one level of sensitivity. Another level is, are you offended by it? Right? If you get a tiniest whiff of a skunk in your neighborhood, you're offended by it. But if you get the tiniest whiff of a rose, you're not offended by it. Kind of
But to
different.
determine an odor threshold value, you don't have to be offended. You just have to tell the difference between clean air and the air from the facility, and if you can detect a difference, then it counts on your threshold value. I have to
Yeah, for
be
sure.
offensive.
For sure, yeah.
I wanna make sure, it's not 3%, it's 3.
3 people.
Yeah, 3 people, right, okay.
And I don't have numbers on how much people were offended by complaints as opposed to just filing complaints.
I'll add that.
I also took a look at the town geographically. I know you guys are all locals, but hopefully I didn't offend anybody. The way I split this up, kind of based off geographical in town. So there's rivers, there's a couple of the main strips, the industrial corridor, obviously along the east end there. So when I took a look at those and looked at where we received most of our complaints from, if we go to the next slide. So the majority of our complaints came from the east end. We also received quite a bit from north of downtown. You'll all know there's a fairly steep hill there. That's kind of what I considered the north of downtown. Quite a few from south of downtown, and then some from Diamond Ridge area. Those are our main 4 if you look at the split. All very obviously high populated. I think if you go to the next slide, high populated areas, right? They've got a lot of house density versus, you know, the industrial corridor. You're not going to have a lot of people wandering around outside there because there's factories, et cetera, in that area. So specifically looking at kind of numbers here, in the east end, I received 186 complaints. And 25 different individuals were filing those 186. The other one that stands out at me, obviously north of downtown, 109 less individuals, but about half the first one. And then the last one is south of downtown. So 105 complaints, but 30 different individuals. So you can kind of deduce from that, the south of downtown, we do get a lot of medium level complaints, people that have noticed it, you know, several times, but not nearly at the volume that you would see in like the east or the north end. And then Diamond Ridge is another good example. There are 74 complaints between 4 individuals. So there's some high perception individuals in that area. Thoughts on that?
What's the boundary of what's called Diamond Ridge?
The end of the houses.
Where I live? Thank you.
Divulge down.
Hmm?
Any comments on that, questions? I find it interesting that they're all together but separate, right? Like, I guess it makes sense though, because that's where the houses are. Right, it's not like they're separate pockets, they're all.
Hmm.
Right?
Carol, pardon my ignorance, but where is Diamond Ridge? Like what part? I haven't got these glasses on here.
How would you
Have got-
explain it?
It's
Up the end of,
what I call it the south end, southeast end of town. I don't know what,
South
I've never
end?
heard Diamond Ridge being,
Over that way?
it's out over there. I mean, it's what do you call the new area that I live in? I never even heard of the word Diamond Ridge
Yeah, I
before.
haven't either.
No,
It's Ridgewood, in the
There you
streets,
go.
Ridgewood.
Okay.
my mistake, see, we'll call it Ridgewood.
I mean, there's 74 new homes there,
Mhm.
built in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So
I do know.
what I find interesting is the people that have lived here their whole life think I'm crazy and they don't smell anything. Unfortunately, I came here 5 years ago and I'm like, what's that smell? So, and it does bother me. So that's probably why, and I don't send Kara an email for every single one, because it would be a
Every
bit
day,
higher,
yeah.
a bit higher, but, you know, I think from my perspective, as I look at the results and everything, I like to know who else is making the same smell. Because I find that interesting when you say it's not. I'm curious about how the wind has moved, say in a half hour. And is it, or does it hold the smell and then the wind shifts and it lingers and then disappears? I mean, it's your software, I don't know if it can do that, but it's kind of interesting because you can go for weeks and don't smell at all. And then one real windy day, it's like, ooh, and or even a very quiet day. It's very random. It's really tricky to sort of pin down as to why, you know, you get an odor that some days it's really bad. So I started putting a gauge to it for myself and for Cara to say, this is like 7 or 8 in the smell, in my smell meter, or it's a 3, but most of the time it's over 5 because I probably don't even care. If it's under 5, I'm like, okay, big deal. But when it's above it, and if I happen to be working around the house, well then it's bothering me a lot. And I sit on my phone
You
and,
smell it in your house.
no, I don't smell it in the house,
Oh,
no,
okay.
but around the house, outside, if I'm in
Yeah,
the garage.
okay.
And it's humid out, you know, the air is not
Yeah.
moving, so it's stuck. And there's nothing you can do about it, but I wasn't expecting it. That was the really big thing for me. I moved here
Your
for
real estate agent should have told you about that.
well, that's a good point.
Yeah, well, you know,
They should have.
yeah, they should have made it obvious that there was a cement plant in town and.
Well, I knew the cement plant was there.
Yeah.
I didn't know it
and
smelled.
odor.
I didn't learn that until after I arrived. And I came from a different environment where what you smell is pine trees.
Oh.
So, you know, so it was very dramatic. It was quite dramatic.
Yes.
So here I am, kind of coping with it.
Yeah.
I think from even the last meeting we had, there was a woman that was concerned about what's in the smell. And I don't think we really ever come to terms with, is there anything in the smell? Is there anything nasty?
My shop is just up the hill here. There's rarely a day that I can go in there where it doesn't have a smell coming to the outside. And I can see the stack there. So it's not coming from the cement plant. There is shortgate over there. And the pipe.
Oh, the tube place?
Tubing?
Yeah, the tubing company, those two, they've got their own little foundry there. Those two produce more smells, and then it's just going down the valley, and if you're living in Meadow Ridge, you're gonna get those smells.
So I don't notice the other two.
Oh, I do.
Well, see, that's interesting, right? That, I don't notice the other two.
I think it was the last meeting as well, Vanessa said she always smells McDonald's, and she lives around the corner from you, and you never smell McDonald's.
I can smell it if I drive past, like those places. But I don't smell it like I think what I call a steel mill smell of the cement plant. So. I guess, that's why I asked about, say once the stack went up, did everything change? I would imagine it did.
It did. And
I just happen to live at the high level, at the same level as the stack, I think. I don't know, we've never really measured it, but I think it's pretty near level at the top of it.
I am realizing we don't have that graph in here, but we do have, if you look at the number of concerns before and after the stack extension, so. You go back to the original graph, 2017, we had about 170, then in about the 100 range. 2021, after the stack extension, we did still have about 100 concerns. And I think the discussion we had at that time was that there was people that were under the impression that the extension would eliminate all of the odor, and we had never said that. We would said it would disperse it more and less frequent you would experience it. So there's a lot of people that were concerned about it, but maybe not actually like upset or offended by it at that point. They were just more alert to it. And maybe that kind of went away. So 2022, 3, 5, like I said, they're kind of more in line with the 28 to 25 concerns. I took that graph out, that's why I figured I'd mention it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the longer you're here, the less it bothers you. That's not really a good way to measure what's happening, but that's a fact of life. After a while, you kind of just don't bother. I'm going out to the car. Am I going to stop and send an email? No, I'm going to get in the car and leave. So there's one that's missing. It's not that it wasn't there. I couldn't be bothered to do it.
And although you don't know exactly what is causing the odor, back to your other question, they look at a whole suite of just about any compound chemical you can think of to see where the plant is as far as regulations for the ministry with their plant impingements. And those are all below current regulations. So anything, I think most of the odor would be have some sulfur in it somewhere, should be well below anything, because the individual chemicals are all below.
All right, so I also put together some weather information. On the next slide. So there's an interesting graph you can make called the wind rose, where you map the wind direction and speed over a time period. So if you look towards the center, I've centered it over the cement plant. The center, you can see a bit of a darker color, so that's going to be your lower speeds. And then as it gets higher speeds, it would project just a little bit further, but the height of each of them is going to be the frequency. Does that make sense? So basically what this is showing is the predominant wind direction in town over the last 8 years has been from the southeast heading towards, it's from the southwest heading towards the northeast. So geographically where we are, it's just an area where the wind tends to be pushing from our direction towards the town. Is interesting in the graphic. And then on the next slide, I have also the time of day and some of the weather conditions, or time of the year, sorry. So overnight, you wouldn't really get concerns, people are sleeping. And then more in the morning or afternoon, we do get some concerns later in the evening. And then some residents would say they noticed it all day. So I've got those on there as well. And then kind of falls in with that, but people are outside a bit less in the winter, December to February months than they are in the summer and fall months. So you tend to see more concerns those periods as well. So that's what I put together for all of my odor statistics. Are there any comments or questions? Okay. So getting into our dust complaints. So we talked about this at our last meeting, but just a reminder, we do have a procedure for a facility to address dust complaints. So someone from the St. Mary's cement plant would go to the residence location to take a sample. We do ask that calls are prompt to ensure no other contamination will occur. We do use deionized water and ashless filter paper to remove the sample. The reason we do that, the water does not add any mineral contaminants, and the hydration of the dust on the vehicle allows us to see how the dust will react. And then we take the ashless paper. It's critical for the analysis, which is going to be talked about on the next slide. We take it from the windshield. We don't want the material, we don't want to scratch the paint. We don't want to go on the rear window because that's where a lot of dirt gets kicked up from wheels. And then not the side windows, because they're a bit more of a vertical surface and we need more horizontal. And then we take it to the lab on site to see if we can, or to analyze it, to look at whether or not it matches any raw materials or products. So the lab procedure, we also look at complaint location relative to the operations, what the weather was doing, whether or not the wind direction and speed would line up, and then the plant conditions. So we're constantly monitoring on site. And then if dust is identified, then we can take actions if we do notice it. And then once analysis is completed, the facility compares data from the root cause investigation to the analysis results to see if it originated from our facility. So since our last meeting, we had 3 dust complaints. So the first one, we did have a reportable spill from one of our transfer points. So that one did line up with the location that was reported to the Spills Action Center. We also had another one a couple weeks later. Again, a reportable incident also reported. And then in October, we had one that was not cementitious. So there was very evident particles in it that were not from our operations, and those were identified to the resident as well. Questions on this? So alternative low carbon fuels. So year to date in 2025, we have used that number, 1,727 tons of wood and 18,095 tons of plastic. So I know on the next slide, I always go through how this compares to the average Canadian. So the average Canadian will dispose of 105 kilograms of plastic per year. So that means as of today, as of November 30th, we have disposed of, used the equivalent of 222,251 Canadians worth of discarded plastic as fuel in the process. And then on the next slide, I really like showing all the little trucks. They weren't fitting. So I did quick math and it turns out we were averaging 2 trucks per day. So that's also a good image.
Not as many.
Not as many, it's a lot of trucks. Comments or questions about that?
I think somebody mentioned to me that there's a company little north of St. Mary's, maybe north of Listowel, making some pipe out of recycled, and you may be getting plastic.
Stratford.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you are getting some local.
Yes,
Yeah.
the one in Stratford, I don't know if I can say the name of the company, but it is Stratford.
Okay.
Right, so I did not receive any questions brought forward in advance of today's meeting, which will then bring us to our round table. So Rob, we can start with you.
I have no concerns. We through council, we promoted, Jim and I both promoted everyone trying to get the public out here because I always find your presentations fascinating. And I hate to say riveted because I sound like a nerd, but I'm riveted. You know, this is down the street from me, and I love that I know what's going on in that big place that when friends come to visit, they're like, "What the heck is that?" So apart from that, I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and be safe out in this weather.
I have a completely different question that I don't think you can answer. Does anybody know if there's any plans to put a truck lane on Highway 7 so that when the giant cement-filled tractor trailers pull in, they have someplace to go rather than jam up the traffic and the idiots that are going to rear end them, or the truck driver that got impatient and finally decided I'm pulling out. And I'm noticing quite a bit And I would say that some of it's cement trucks, some of it's other trucks. I don't know what they are, whether they're the delivery trucks from the, but I was just thinking that it's an area, and I know that the street, what's the other north-south street?
James or what?
James, yeah. I mean, there's been some horrific accidents there since I've lived there. So I'm just curious as to how, I know it's Ministry of Transportation. So I don't know how we go about saying, hey, you guys should think about paving a ramp up lane.
The roads you're talking about are provincial roads, so they.
Yeah, exactly.
Tim and I wouldn't be.
No, I know, but I don't know where to go with it. And it's something that I thought about, I'd throw it out there because
Yeah.
somebody's gonna say, well, here's who you need to, our member of parliament or whatever.
Right.
But I think that it, to some extent, it sheds a bad light on the heavy truck traffic coming out of St. Mary's. Because it's becoming something that I've noticed quite a bit, just in my travels. And I'm out a reasonable amount on Highway 7 traveling around and I'm like, don't pull out. Yep, he's pulling out. And you notice it more in bad weather because it's hard. I can't imagine. And the next James Street over is even worse because there's a lot of trucks sitting there and they have maybe absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in this room, but it's becoming an issue.
So truck traffic, Jim can speak to this too, had been an issue, particularly in town for a long time.
Going through town.
Through town, yeah. But I know that our CAO and perhaps even Jed have addressed it with every company, every large industry around, and all of them are compliant. They make sure, it's as far as staying out of the downtown. I can't tell you, what happens after when they get to a provincial road, but everyone's been very cooperative locally, the industry here.
It's just something I thought I'd throw out there and say, well, maybe it's something that.
My assumption would be that due to the number of accidents at James Street, Highway 7, that it should be on their radar of what can we do to maybe solve some of these problems, but, I don't hear hardly too much from the cement plant trucks going Water Street. I don't hear too much there because their sight lines are quite longer, but James Street is a problem.
It's better, but it would be very helpful to people if there was an extra lane there for truck traffic to ramp up. And I know that's I guess I'll start asking some provincial guy.
Yeah, it's just so difficult for them to get out onto 7, turning left or right.
Oh, it's gotta be awful. They gotta sit there forever, but especially when they're loaded. But I mean, if Stubbs or somebody's pulling up in front of you, it's annoying. And I've been known to phone people, say, why is your guy doing that?
They won't put it on.
The bridge, yeah.
Anyways, that's just my thought on something that's semi-related just to industry within the town and how the town as it gets busier and you've got more trucks coming and going. Maybe some of them are the guys that are dropping off stuff. I don't know. And there's still lots of big trucks driving through town. You see them all the time. Lots of them.
And I'm downtown, like my business is downtown, and I've noticed the same thing. It's not locals. And the odd time it's a farmer, and you almost can't blame them. They usually try to do it midday.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Anyways, that's where I'm at.
Only to your point, the probably Ministry of Transportation, that you contact, I don't have any names or anything like that.
Yeah.
If you're looking to talk to a political person, it'd be your MPP.
Yeah.
But yes,
It's just something that hit me the other day as I had to hit the brakes again for some guy pulling out in front of me. And I thought, takes a long time to get stuff like that done, I know.
Nothing from me.
I liked the presentation that Tony did, and I don't know the other gentleman's name, but I thought it was quite good.
We've talked to Tony's son to be the 5th generation, and he wants to.
Really?
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought the video was well done, and again, it's nice seeing somebody there fourth generation, talking about highlighting safety, et cetera, et cetera. So those are all good. I did like where they said that, you know, you talk about reduction of your carbon footprint by 25%. So there's something you can do every year, you know, we're down to 22, you know, we've got so much, you know, because I think that is important because, you know, I sit in some committees even around town and they talk about carbon footprint doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm sitting there thinking, we can't do anything compared to what the cement plant can do, you know, they can make one little change and go way above everything else that we can do around town.
Maybe that's something I could do with the next presentation, because I know our plant is stopped with our company for reduction so far. So we can put some information to what we've done and how it works, yeah.
And I think the public would be really interested.
Good presentation, good presentations all year long. I'll just say, well, happy Christmas.
Yeah.
Representation.
All right, so as usual, I do have safety comments on the next slide. So snow shoveling. It's a cold activity, so warm up your spine by stretching first. Bend at your knees, keep your back straight. Keep your feet apart and have a strong low stance. Scoop and lift upwards with your legs, not your back. Don't shovel more than you can handle. Don't strain your back by filling too much snow in a shovel. Keep the shovel close to your body, making it easier to lift. Point your feet in the direction you want to throw the snow. Don't twist your spine. Push the snow forward if possible instead of throwing it to the side, and take frequent breaks and don't overdo it.
Also, I didn't use a spade.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't mind going back, Amanda, I forgot, people online, do any of you have any comments or concerns? There? Sure.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Comments? No? Okay. If he does have anything, I will share with you guys later. So for next year, we will probably do quarterly meetings again. I'll probably schedule them at the start of the year, try to get ahead of it so it makes it a little easier for some people to book. And then that brings me to the last slide. So from all of us at St. Mary's Cement, happy holidays and a wonderful new year to both you and your families. Please drive safe this evening, make it home to your loved ones, and enjoy the rest of your evening.